Has this ever happened to you? You work so hard for something that fascinates you. You can't sleep because all you can dream is about that thing. All your conversations surround that topic to the point people think that this thing is consuming you, but they can see the spark in your eyes and don't say anything. You work so hard for this thing, and then you make a mistake which potentially can kill the dream. In that moment, you don't see the dream, you see the suffering you cause yourself because maybe what you're trying to achieve isn't what you are made for. In that moment, you want to let your dreams burn and walk away as the camera shoots you in wide angle. Marcus wants to create best owners. He has a new book from which he is learning new things and getting inspired from the amazing things he didn't know before. In this episode, the toilet pipe bursts and it creates a delay in their usual timing of serving lunch. The chef Carmy instructs everyone that we continue the work. He instructs Marcus specifically that he shouldn't get lost in the donuts. He should focus on the cake that need to be made. Marcus gets behind in the process and trying to speed things up, accidentally blows fuse of the whole place. He feels bad for this. Previously, he used to work in McDonald's before working here in this restaurant. There he felt like everything is done by machines. He needed to feel useful in the kitchen. Here at the beef restaurant, he has opportunity to prove himself and he made a mistake in that too. He shares this feeling with Carmy. What Carmy tells him is the best perspective you could have about making mistakes. He tells him that he started a fire in his restaurant day after he won an award for the best chef. It doesn't mean that he's a bad chef, it's just that sometimes shit happens. You just make mistakes without realizing it. I would like to point out here that this statement is not lack of responsibility. This is cleared in the next sentence. Carmy says that there was this thing that happened when he started that fire. For a moment he thought that if he doesn't put out that fire at all his worries, anxiety would go away. But then he put out that fire. You do feel like going away from all these things that cause you suffering, but then we have to do the right thing. Take responsibility and put out the fire. Our goals can make us miserable, but we can't just abandon everything every time we make mistake. We make best out of that situation. In the start of the episode, we see Marcus ripping tapes uneven. Carmy tells him to keep them even so that they look good. We don't understand the importance of that in that moment. But after the fuse goes off and Marcus confesses to Carmy, Carmy says that sometimes the work gets crazy. That's normal. What we have to do is just get ahead of the work. Be prepared, be careful. At the end of the episode, we see Marcus carefully tagging the bottle with tape that's evenly cut. He's being careful. He had learned from this mistake and now he's being careful, he's being ahead of the work. He might not make that mistake again, and even if he makes that mistake, then sometimes that happens. He shouldn't let that mistake worry him, just learn from it and move forward. Sydney. This episode starts with Sydney having a bad dream and going off to work. I would like to discuss something before we deep dive into her character. We see a scene where camera is on her hairs for a little too long. I hadn't noticed her hair till now in the series because she always ties it up. When we get this long take, we can really feel the depth of the character. I wondered what she might be thinking in this moment. This episode is crucial for her and us as an audience to understand her. There's a great character development in this episode. The burden of pursuing your dreams and failing at it is shared by Sydney too. When the fuse goes off, they can't serve lunch, but if they don't, they might go out of business because they are not making that much money. They need those customers. We get to know that Sydney had an ambition of doing her own business. She used to provide catering service. She couldn't keep up with the demand. It got too big too fast. She overworked and had a burnout. All that experience for her was really traumatizing. She still has bad dreams about that. She dreams about burning the shrimps and everything going out of control. She can't sleep at night. When in this episode they are left with no options, she comes up with the solution of serving outdoors like she used to in catering. While putting on a fire, she sees flashes of burnt shrimps symbolizing her trauma. All this hard work pays off when a customer thanks her for the great meal. She shares what happened with her in the past with Carmy. While doing this, we can see she's boiling shrimps. She asks for help from Carmy to strain the stock. This time, when she's working in a small restaurant, she's careful. Carmy is one of the best chefs in the world. Later, in the last episode, we get to know that When she left her culinary school and came back to New York, she tried food from every corner of NYC. The best food was served at the Beef. She liked it so much, that's why she wanted to work here. She is now taking a step back from her ambition, which burned her. Now she is slowly learning the nooks and crooks of being the best chef. Her asking Carmy to help her with the shrimps symbolizes all this. This brilliance drew me deep into the series. At the final moment of the episode, we see that she has a nightmare again. She takes out a pen and notes her dream. She's taking note of things that make her afraid and she's working on those issues. This just shows growth after you make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes, but you should just work on those issues that cause them.
Oh no, I know what this is!
Carmy. Carmy, being seasoned chef, has experienced lot of things people go through as he has faced many problems himself. There's a great foreshadowing we see in the beginning of the episode. Carmy hears sound from the toilet and says that he knows what it is. They might have did that in the past, but before he could realize, they just burst open. Seems like a commentary on how even when we know about the past mistakes, we still can be taken aback by shock. But that doesn't mean that we made a big mistake. It's just like Carmy said, shit happens. In this case, it burst open, but we have to put out the fire and do the work, move forward. That's what he does. He moves forward to fix the problem and instructs everyone to continue their work like before. They can't miss a serving. They would still serve lunch. In the kitchen, he makes amazing dish for everyone to learn from. Carmy in the past had deliberately put himself through hell to become the best chef in the world. A reason behind it was hate towards his brother because he didn't let him work in the restaurant. After death of his brother, he left the restaurant to Carmy. He is unable to process his brother's death. He thought becoming the best chef in the world would mean that he is better than his brother and the restaurant. But after the brother's death, that doesn't mean anything. Carmy guides people through tough times. He has experience of things. He can solve many problems. But he refuses to get help for himself. Then, in the last episode, we can see him confessing his feeling to the group. This shows that even if you are really great at handling success, failure, the problems that come with it, you can still be in the position where you need help. This episode perfectly encapsulates the real life up and downs of pursuing anything meaningful.